Susan B. Anthony was born a Quaker in the town of Adams, Massachusetts on February 15, 1820. This particular religion believed in the social equality for all, which is what created her values as she got older. As she grew up, her and her family were actively involved in politics in their community. As slavery was still legal in the South, it mainly concerned equal rights for all races as well as genders. Anthony and her siblings were able to get a good education, which wasn't always accessible for females at this time. Anthony's early career started in 1845 at the age of 25 when she was named head of the female department at the Academy at Canajoharie. During her time educating there, she began to form her own political opinions, first starting by when she recognized that as a female educator, she wasn't paid as much as the men. A short 4 years after, and Anthony moved back near her parents to help her father run his farm. Back in Rochester, New York, she came in touch with several reform figures like Frederick Douglass and William Lloyd Garrison, who fought for social equality. Anthony claims to be inspired by their reform works. In 1851, however, is when Susan B. Anthony's work really begins. She met Elizabeth Cady Stanton, an organizer of the Seneca Falls Convention, the first real women's rights convention. Together, these two founded the Women's New York State Temperance Society and the New York State Women's Rights Committee to help push their women's rights agenda forward. During the 1850s, Anthony, along with Stanton, gave many speeches and held conventions where they argued for women's suffrage, property rights for women, better divorce laws, women's labor rights, campaigned for women's dress reform, and mother's custody rights. This is what makes Susan B. Anthony so powerful. In the decades before, women were pressured to fit the traditional mother role by not just men, but other women and just society in general. Anthony's speeches inspired many to pursue their own opinions and to pass legislation that would help create equal rights for both men and women. Not only did Anthony argue for women's rights, she also wanted abolition of slavery. During the Civil War, Anthony co-founded the Women's National Loyal League with Stanton to petition against slavery. With the end of the Civil War, the 15th Amendment established that voting rights cannot be denied on race, color, or previous condition of servitude. However, this applied to men only. Anthony couldn't align herself with Republican reform anymore. This only made Anthony more determined to challenge voting laws. Alongside her companion Stanton, they together founded the National Women's Suffrage Association in 1869. The women involved in this organization attempted to illegally cast votes in elections. Anthony's dedication to her cause and acts of civil disobedience led to her arrest in 1872, but she was fortunately released on bail and had to pay a fine. One of her most famous speeches in 1873, her speech on the right of women's suffrage, Anthony argues that it was her right to vote in the election of 1872, that the Constitution begins with "we the people," not we the white male citizens, nor yet we the male citizens, but we the whole people who form the Union. The arrest didn't stop her to push for fairer laws. After her arrest, she continued to lobby for changes to voting laws in the Constitution and to meet with legislators about change. During a time when women's rights, as well as equal rights for all races, was a controversial topic, Anthony paved the way for many other reform movements to occur and inspired many young women and abolitionists to speak up for what they believe. Anthony's work is regarded as the beginning of an independent women's movement of the late 19th century. Although Anthony did not live to see the passage of the 19th Amendment, as she died on March 13, 1906, she is still one of the most important figures in the feminist movement. Without Anthony's work, others might not have had the courage to argue for what they believe and to push for equal rights for women and make the United States what it is today.